Welcome back, everyone. Lago Vista is the latest Central Texas community to hear some debate over the use of automated license plate readers, specifically flock cameras. At a city council meeting this week, council members considered a push from citizens to get rid of its 4 cameras. That's after neighbors raised concerns about mass surveillance and privacy. Meanwhile, a representative from Flock defended its record of helping law enforcement solve crimes. The city's police chief added his support of this kind of technology, noting his job involves life and death decisions. Ultimately, city council voted unanimously last night to cancel its contract with Flock immediately, even paying a termination fee to end that contract early.
We represent over 10,000 people in this community that are not here. And I've visited with lots and lots of people who feel very supportive of this issue.
We are willing to help the police do whatever they need to do, but we are not willing to turn over our data to billionaires.
In moments where seconds matter, where minutes matter, where hours matter, your agency needs to be able to have the effective tools to responsibly and effectively and efficiently respond to crime. That case right there is just one of a million cases that Flock helped solve last year.
If we were to bring this back for consensus and we found out that 51% of the residents were actually, no, I want to be surveilled, then that's actually honest. That's awesome. I would support that. I would move away because that's not for me.
We're hearing some of the back and forth on both sides from that meeting last night, but now we want to bring in the mayor of Lago Vista for some more context about the decision the city made. Shane Saum, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
I do want to start by backing up for folks who have not been following this specific debate in Lago Vista. Explain how these cameras came to be in your community, and when did you start hearing some of those citizen concerns?
Yeah, this was one of the concerning parts of how they came to our town. We actually had this brought to us by the citizens. This is an entirely citizen-led initiative. The cameras were actually installed about 3 or 4 years ago. Unfortunately, the process wasn't as transparent as you would want it to be, and not as transparent as last night was. It was snuck into the budget, and they were put up without any policy discussion, without any opportunity for citizens to speak on it, and without any real knowledge of the city council at that time. And so back in February or March, these citizens had the most thorough citizen-led initiative I've seen in Lago Vista, online, in person, through petitions, and brought it to us, and they packed the room last night, and we heard them.
I do want to put this in context for our audience. This is, of course, part of a larger conversation happening about these kinds of license plate readers and Flock cameras. We've heard in that conversation supporters of Flock hammering home the safety element. And I know Flock presented some scenarios to your citizens last night about these cameras helping in cases such as kidnapping cases. So respond to that for me. What was some of that conversation you heard last night, balancing safety concerns with the privacy concerns?
Yeah, I think we know this is a national conversation. I mean, we had some council members with a binder this thick of information and court cases that are going around the country. We do understand that there are cases that have potentially been solved quicker through this technology, but we also have a lot of cases that the citizens brought to us where it's been abused, or where the Flock Corporation couldn't verify that data wasn't being shared. And there's a lot of privacy concerns. And here in Texas, you know, it's a different technology, but in 2019, they banned red light cameras here for some similar thinking. And I think it's just too fresh. I know the legislature is meeting this year. They're going to be discussing it. I saw Senator Hall's already going to be writing a bill about it. I think for a city like Lago Vista that has such a low crime rate, the discussion was that it just isn't a big need here right now. And the way they were installed really lost some of the trust of the citizens, and we have to earn that back.
You did have a candid conversation with your police chief, answering some questions last night about continuing to further safety in your community, even with these cameras coming down. So for citizens who might have those lingering safety concerns, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I asked Chief that very question last night, and I said, in any way, as taking these away, saying you're not going to be able to solve these crimes, that you're not going to be able to do your job, and he said, absolutely not. They're still going to be able to do it. We still have a lot of regional partners here with the Travis County Sheriffs. We have our neighbors in Jonestown. I think that there's no reason to believe that you're any less safe today than you were before. And again, you know, you could always revisit these things in the future years, but right now it's not a need here in Lago Vista. We're not seeing that type of crime, and I feel very safe in this community, as do many others.
We'll note for our audience, you all decided unanimously to make this move. How often does that happen on your council? Did you expect it to go that direction?
I did not expect that, honestly. I've gone back and forth on this at least 10 different times. You know, I was a staffer in the legislature for 10 years. Policy issues like this are not black and white. At the end of the day, it came down to the citizens brought this to us. They spoke extremely loud and they filled the room like I've never seen before. And you just can't ignore that many citizens and the will that the people are bringing to you. So to hear the rest of the council members feel that as well, we don't always agree. And listen, this was not a we don't support law enforcement, we don't support safety. This was just, we think that this is a national conversation that we know is going on. Our citizens are telling us they don't want it, and the way they were installed wasn't right. And we all came together and made a unanimous decision. And the best part about it has nothing to do with us. It was entirely the citizens.
I do want to circle back. You all mentioned at the beginning that this all happened. There were some concerns about how this contract was instituted. Can folks expect there to be any retroactive review over that process or how that came to be?
They can absolutely expect some new policies. I think council has to be included when we have new technology that's installed. The citizen referendum is still active, as far as I'm aware, and that's larger than just banning flock cameras. It's about mass surveillance, and that's a policy discussion that the council has still agreed to continue, and we're going to have as we go into the coming months, probably after budget season. But this isn't the end of that discussion.
You mentioned budget season there. There was some conversation last night about letting this contract play out until November to avoid paying a fee to get out of that contract. But you all did decide to immediately leave that contract. So talk about the cost of that to the city of Lago Vista. Is that something you're concerned about?
I mean, we only had 4 cameras. My understanding is it's $500 per camera, so I'm not super concerned about it. Obviously, I'm pretty tight with my budget. I'd like to save any money I can for the citizens, but we ultimately decided that it was such a strong will of the citizens to get rid of them. To let the contract go till November didn't seem to make sense. So I think that we feel pretty confident in that decision.
I do want to circle back. You mentioned something about the will of the people, and that was a through line listening through last night's conversation, hearing council members say sometimes it's difficult to know how citizens are feeling about something, but you mentioned that this was overwhelmingly loud and clear. Has there been an issue in recent memory in Lago Vista that you've heard such loud feedback on? And do you expect this, you mentioned continued concerns about mass surveillance. What do you expect citizens to be pushing for next and the conversations to continue with your council?
I've never heard the citizens this loud on any topic until this. I mean, we've had some minor issues that have come up, and we've had some people in the room, usually about taxes. But this was the best designed citizen-led initiative that I've seen, and I felt pretty confident. I mean, they were at the farmers market, they're at the brewery, they're at the restaurants. I was hearing from everybody. We were all talking to as many people as we could, and as I said last night, I hear a lot about the silent majority. This was a message to them that you might want to become part of the vocal minority because they can get things done locally. And as far as the mass surveillance issue goes, I think there will still be more interest in it as people were learning about Flock. They're learning about other companies and other technologies out there. And I think during this AI boom that we're seeing, local government is typically the slowest to the table. We're going to have to be more vigilant in educating ourselves and our citizens about what's actually being instituted.
Mayor Shane Saum, thank you so much for joining us today and for this context on what's going on in your community. Is there anything that you wanted people to know, maybe outside of Lago Vista, who are seeing what's happening there?
Again, please do what these citizens did. I mean, if you want to make change in this country, the best place to do is locally, and you need to be active and involved. You can say whatever you want on Facebook, but when you actually show up and look your legislators in the eyes and come with really good facts and information, change happens. And I'd like to see a whole lot of that going on here in Texas and across the country.
Mayor, thank you for joining us today for this context. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.